There are three things a gay always needs.
Craziest thing happened to me today.
We gotta know the tea. We gotta keep the tea. We gotta be the best friend.
Guess who I saw on the dating app the other day?
I'm so glad that phones cannot talk, because if my phone could talk, the secrets that it would tell.
Wow. I really was blessed with good looks. Like, look at me.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Good Day Gay. I am Russell Ray, along with my co-host, Paulie B. Mr. B. Johan, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you going? What's been happening?
Good. I have to say, your intro kills me every single time. It's like, I'm really good looking.
And it's so bad that I literally always think that. Like last weekend we were in Mardi Gras, and I don't know why I just say this shit. Like I literally just say to my friends all the time, like, I'm really the main character. Like and then we're talking about me finding a man, and I'm just like, I think if I found a man, he would have to be like the supporting role, but also not like the Ariana Grande level supporting role, like a lower supporting role to me as the main character. Like, I don't know why I say stuff like that, but I just do.
You're irritating.
Get off. It's Pisces season, all right? It's my birthday.
All right, girl, we're logging off now. Thank you so much, everybody, for logging into the show today. Okay, so today's episode, we're talking about being gay and a person of color and living at the intersection of both. Not only are we dealing with one issue on one side, we're also dealing with the other issue on the other side, but also we're dealing with the positives of both. So we're smack in the middle. As Paul is Filipino, I am Mexican. We do have a guest today that's coming on soon who is also a person of color. So we're going to have three different perspectives. We're going to talk to you about each and every one of them because we all have a different experience in this field. What has been your experience in the dating community?
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to say, like, so obviously we're right off the bat of Mardi Gras. And, one of the reasons why I said to you, I think we should do an episode on this is because, so last weekend I went to Mardi Gras, and one of my mates in New Zealand, he was like, look, it's not really my thing, like, for an event that's supposed to be really inclusive, like he doesn't feel like he feels included, because he is a brown boy. He is a bit thicker than most boys, so he just doesn't feel included. Do you know what I mean?
Thick. You know what? Anybody that doesn't like a thick boy does not know what they're missing.
How to eat is starving. And then like the other day, I was just scrolling through Instagram, and there was this guy that posted, his perspective of Mardi Gras. And this guy, I sent you the video. He is beautiful. Like he was hot. He was chiseled. He was brown. He was everything. Like he was hot. But he himself was saying like he experienced racism at Mardi Gras. And so I thought, although Mardi Gras, I love Mardi Gras. It's an amazing festival. It's such a like really good energy, and like it's just a really cool vibe to be in. But yeah, unfortunately, there is still racism in the community. And so, yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. In terms of my experience in the community, I think I said it to you before, like there used to be back in the day, people would really write on their like Grindr profiles, like no Asians, like no fats, no femmes, no Asians. Like people would actually have that written.
It was also a choice on, did you all have Plenty of Fish in Australia?
We did, but I didn't use Plenty of Fish. I think
that was my first dating.
I think that's like an old person.
Okay, first of all, back the fuck up. Okay, and we know I don't be cursing on the podcast normally, but just
no,
put
you
a pin
don't.
in that, sir. But yes, on Plenty of Fish, that was my first dating app, and it asked you to list your preferences so that the algorithm could skew your matches towards that. And then it also asked you what you were not into. And then, which I was so baffled because I'm like, I mean, it could ask you if you were into thick, skinny, twinkish, just a variety of things. It was
Wow.
asking you ethnically what you were into, what you were not
Yeah.
into.
Yeah.
And I was just so overwhelmed that I just put non-applicable for like both, like all three of them,
Yeah.
because I'm like, just give me
Yeah.
everything, because we all know I love a wide range of
Well, even
everything.
like,
Okay,
yeah.
I minus. This is gonna be so
Oh
bad.
my gosh.
I just can't. I can't. We got to be the same size. We got to be thicker than me. There's a certain level that I just cannot.
Look, and as I've said before in the pod, there are nothing wrong with twinks. I myself do like a twink. Like I have a wide range of like preferences as well, and twink is on the preference card. But yeah, I guess like even talking about, you know, setting your ethnicity on Grindr, like for myself as a Filipino, you know, there's an Asian option and there's also a South Asian option. Whereas I'm kind of just like, give me the Filipino option. Like, where's Filipino Grindr? But yeah,
You
I
know what's
feel
funny
like,
is like just in
yeah,
general, when I'm filling out documents for myself, it's like non-Hispanic, but there's no category, like a specific category for Hispanics or like Mexicans or, you know, just Central or Southern Americans.
yeah, okay. So it's just all
Even at CVS, it'll say like race and ethnicity, and in one of the two categories, they're just non-existent. It says you have to click other.
other.
So I'm like,
other.
bitch, I am none other than the best. Okay,
Literally,
let me
I'm the main character.
But like, it's offensive.
Yeah, and like, I guess okay. So I feel like back in the day when I first started going on Grindr, like what was that? 20, I don't even remember Grindr. But I feel like people were very vocal about their preferences, saying things like not into Asians, blah blah blah. Whereas now my experience, you know, it's not that people say it. I think it's just that you feel it. I remember seeing this one meme where it's like, so the straights will never know the feeling of sending a face photo and then never getting a response back on like a dating app or whatever. So I guess my experience sometimes these days is, you know, I'll see profiles that I'm attracted to and it'll say something like into Asians. And so I'll be like, hey. And then I won't, hey,
call me.
And hey, and then no response. So I'm like, oh, okay. So you're maybe not into thicker Asians, like into muscular Asians. You're not into brown Asians. You like more of the you know, the Chinese looking Twinkie Asians. Like, is that what you mean you're into? Like,
say that because
you know, when you
I
say
see that
Asians,
a lot
like
here in California.
Yeah. So, but yeah. Yeah, and I guess the other thing I wrote about that as well was, and it probably isn't related to race or anything, but there's been times where I've said hi to people on the apps, just like, hey, and then I'll get a, hey, sorry, not my type. And then a few months later, I get a, hey, from the same profile. And I was like, how did your type change? How did your type change in 3 months? Like, how does this work?
But also don't hit me if you think all of a sudden I had a glow up because I looked just as good before. And if you really think you're gonna slip into my DMs now, you're definitely gonna get blocked and blasted. I'm gonna screenshot, put it on my story, and everybody's gonna know who you are. Okay.
No, I'm gonna respond.
I'm petty.
Whereas I'm gonna respond like, hey.
No, girl, screenshot it, send it to me so I can put it on my story. Be like, yeah, I'm playing with my friends' emotions.
Yeah, you're doing that, and then in the background, I'm just like, hey.
You're like, don't mind anything that he says. I'm so into you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, tell me about your experience.
So mine, I've noticed that being Hispanic is a lot, like it's fetishized a lot in different ways. Like,
okay, yeah.
And when I don't have a thick accent, it's an automatic turn off on the other end, right? So it's like, oh, aren't you Hispanic? Why don't you have an accent? And it's like, well, I'm like second, third generation. So
what?
Like, you know what I mean? So like people on these apps want you to have like a Central American, Southern American accent. Yeah. But also I've been called white boy a lot on dating apps. And I'm like,
your features
I'm just light skin Mexican.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. But you
And like,
clearly have like Latino features. Do you know what I mean? Like, ah,
tell
the
me more,
shoe.
puppy. But yeah, it's like it's really fetishized, and then right away they want to talk about circumcision or non-circumcision, and I'm like,
Mm,
yo, how you doing? I'm doing well. How are you? You know, and it's
yeah, yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
fetishized to have an accent and to be uncircumcised in the Hispanic community.
Mm, mm,
Um,
mm.
because they have this fantasy of all the movies of them, not you, but them wanting to be romanced by a Latin lover
Yeah,
and
yeah.
be basically William Levy with an accent, but also 6'2", 6'3", and but they want light brown hair and light brown eyes, and you know they
Look,
want they don't want anything to make the cut down low. And so
all I'm gonna say is that if they want that, then they better know how to kiss, because sometimes they don't know how to
bitch, was
kiss.
that shade?
Oh,
That was hella shade. That was
if you
subtle though.
wanna,
I'll give that to you. That was really subtle.
if
Not
you
they better know how to
wanna,
kiss.
if you want a Latin lover, then you better know how to kiss.
Baby, and I know I'm a good kisser. But also, what I do want to talk about is also being a person of color and coming out.
Yeah, yeah.
How was that being Filipino? Because you and I
Um,
were raised the same as Catholic. So how was it on your end? Just
yeah,
quickly.
and we've definitely spoken about this a little bit, and I think again, you and I have talked about this, that we do need to dive into coming out stories some more in the future.
Yeah.
But I think, and look, I'm not talking on behalf of my family, but I think for Filipino culture in general, it's about the image. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
oh, what is your auntie gonna think? When they find out you're gay, or what is like the church community gonna find out or think when they find out you're gay? Like, it's all about that image of like, I had before my son came out, I had the perfect family of like, he was doing good in school, he was getting good grades, he was going to go to university and become this, like, and now he's gay. Like, I think in the Filipino community, it's about image, as in like, so you know, a son coming out as gay isn't technically part of the fantasy in Filipino culture, if that makes sense.
And on this end, when you're Hispanic, it somehow makes you less masculine or less
Yeah,
macho.
yeah, no, that's the same. Yeah.
And I'm like, I have been to Mexico a lot, and I have seen two big ass ripped Mexican men side by side, hand in hand, just looking the most masculine that I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Nothing
yeah.
could ever compare in Southern California, I'll tell you that. So like down there, I'm like, okay, yes, I digress on that. But also, like, religion was a big thing. Me and my mom actually had a laugh about this the other day. Is she she was like, remember that Easter where my mom introduced her significant other to the family for the first time, and then I introduced my boyfriend to the family for the first time, but neither one of us were direct about it, right? So my
What do you
mom goes,
mean? Yeah.
my
Sorry.
mom goes, she tells her brother, she goes, this your brother-in-law. Vic, that's your new brother-in-law. And then it just kind of dropped and left it. And then I didn't necessarily introduce my boyfriend as my boyfriend. It was more like, did you all meet? This is my cousin Cindy, and this is my auntie. Like, it was never a time when me and my mom were like, why did we do that? And we're like, we don't know. But again, my mom is, not, she's separated, divorced, not in her original marriage. And then I'm obviously dating men now. So it was just a switch up, because the last time I introduced anybody to my family was my girlfriend of like on and off of like 5 years. And so it was really just throwing a wrench all the way around the board. Like, here's my mom's new man and here's my new man. And we were like so stressed on how to get it out. But neither one of us were like, oh, I want to introduce you to my significant other. It was like, have you met? That's my cousin Cindy, and this is my auntie Arlene.
I think that's like,
Very
you've made me,
indirect.
no, you've literally made me start thinking as well. Like when I, when I find a partner and I bring them home, like would I do the same? I think I literally would just be like, this is blah, blah, blah. And then just like, you know what, they'll assume, like they'll just know. Like if I'm bringing someone home, then it's not gonna mean anything else. Like, because I just don't bring anyone home. Like, yeah.
It's funny because there's a few of my cousins that still don't know. And I'm like, how did you miss that sign, bro? Like, we walked up hand in hand to the family Easter party. But whatever. I digress on that. What I want to move into, y'all, is that we actually have a guest today who is here to also talk about their perspective. So that we have actually 3 different perspectives from 3 different ethnic backgrounds. So please, without further ado, welcome Azad to the stage. And we're going to give you a crowd.
Yes!
It's going around again. Azad, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here today.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. How you doing?
So, I'm good. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? Where are you at in the world? Because, you know, Paul's in Australia. I'm in California.
Yeah, I am currently living in Canada at the moment. Living on the West Coast. I used to live on the East Coast. I used to live in the States, but I moved because, baby, the ghetto, baby. I can't be
heavy on that. Yes,
heavy on the ghetto. So, but the thing is, I've always wanted to move out of the States because I have traveled the world. What was it? I went to university when I was 18, dropped out because I didn't like what I was doing, and so then I went back. And then I was 21 when I went back. I graduated when I was 26. And then once I graduated with my bachelor's, I traveled the world for 7+ years.
Yes.
Wow.
And seeing the world, you're just like, America is kind of like really ghetto. Like,
you really do see it that way.
Like it's really bad. Like it's actually really, really bad. And so out of all the places, I was like, okay.
Oh, wait. Have you dropped out?
We lost your sound.
We've lost your sound. Wait.
Oh, hold on. We can't hear you.
We can't hear you. Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we're back.
Now we can hear you.
Back.
Wait. Okay, so
I don't know.
There you go.
No, I was just gonna say like this StreamYard is fucking my shit up, and I'm like, please.
Help me.
Look, I had initially planned on switching out of this program, and then it renewed on my credit card, and I was like, "Damn, we're stuck for another year."
We're here
Season
again.
Season 3.
Here we are
like, we're
today.
here. But yeah, I wanted to move to Australia, but Australians think you're old at 30, so couldn't move there. And so the next thing was Canada. So then I moved to Canada. For those who may be seeing me, I am not what you think I am. I am older than what you think I am. So yeah.
Okay, so are you older than us?
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Really?
I would have not guessed that.
I'm older than you.
I would have 100% assumed that you were the same age as
I
us.
literally thought we were all the same age.
Wait, how old are you?
33.
That's 33. I turn 33 next week.
Yeah, I'm older than you too.
Drop the routine, girl. Drop the routine.
Listen, drink water and mind your business. That's it. Drink water and mind your business.
That is one thing I don't do. I'm always dehydrated. I'm always getting into everybody's business.
Oh my gosh, no.
No, I really do mind my own business, but I never drink water, even though I have a gallon.
As you listen, that's good. You're doing great. You are doing great, baby.
Oh my gosh, we have to cut that into a reel. That's hilarious.
Okay, so Paul, what? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I think one of the reasons why I wanted to invite you onto the pod was because, you know, I guess the 3 of us, we all come from different, you know, backgrounds: Asian, Black, Latino. We've all traveled the world. We've all lived in our areas like the US, Australia, Canada. So in a sense, we've experienced being gay and queer in other parts of the world, in our part of the world. We've seen it, like the benefits in other cities or how different cities compared to other cities. And so I was like, let's just get the chat going. Let's just talk about it. Let's spill the tea. Let's drink water and spill the tea.
No, yeah. I mean, and then I ended up in Canada. And so as far as what I do, I am a performer. I'm currently in the transition phase of like trying to go into voice acting because I love cartoons, animation, video games. And so like it's still being a performer, but just in a different way. And so that's kind of where I'm at. And like as I get older, it's like my body just can't.
Yeah. Oh no, your microphone's going out again.
That's yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at now. Like, I gotta chill out. And
But
plus, you just
I was just gonna say, like, watching you dance, like when you post like your dance on like Instagram and everything, I'm just like, get it, like, yes.
That's the thing, is like, if I want to, this is the thing, is like, if I wanted to, I could go back and do it, but it's just like I want to take care of my body as I get older. And it's like you can't do it forever, and that's okay. But like that's why I'm trying to transition into voice acting. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. Is like transition into voice acting. I got an agent here, so it's like that's made life so much easier. That's also why I moved to Canada, because the talent agency I wanted to be with is located in Canada, and like I got in with them, and like once I got in with them, I just have been working consistently, and so it's been great.
Wow.
So yeah.
So do they book you both in Canada and in the States?
Only in Canada, which I'm
Only
okay with, because again, keep that ghetto-ness.
Okay. Very.
Yeah,
There is a lot going on. Let me tell you. Hold on. Let me just tell everybody who's listening. When you travel the world, as all three of us, now that we've established, I've been to Paris, I've been to Italy, I have been to Zurich, I have been to Australia, I've been to Canada, I've been to Central America, I've been to South America. And when you get into other countries, you try to blend with everybody. You try to not stand out entirely. You try to really kind of just take on what everybody else is doing, like they say, quote unquote, when in Rome, right? So there was one day I was eating at a cafe in Paris, fancy little glass of wine. I have my little pasta right there and my little bread and my oil, and I'm just silent as a mouse, right? Because I'm just, what are the Parisians doing? Because that's what I'm gonna do, right? Mind you, I have never put my pasta in a fork in a spoon and twirled it until I saw somebody do it in Paris and in Italy, and I was like, I will definitely be doing that when I'm there.
Girl, that's how you eat it. That's how you eat spaghetti.
No, you just shovel that bad boy in your mouth from your plate. You lean over like a savage.
Oh no.
Especially when you're at home. Look, when you have multiple jobs and you played sports growing up,
fair enough.
You just trying to get the food in your mouth and get to bed. So there's these ladies next to me. They're cackling, right? Like, and I'm like, oh my God, they're fucking American. Sure enough,
you can always tell too.
Right.
It's so bad.
I look to my right and I'm like, looking at them like, you want to tone it down a little bit, right? Like I'm looking at them, like giving them the look, like you're being loud and obnoxious.
Yeah.
And I would never eat that here. I would just, that just doesn't even compare. And I'm like, girl, shut up. Like everybody at the cafe is looking at you. And I'm like,
literally,
this is why the world looks at us the way that they do. Because we think we're better than. We're really not. We're just different. Which, coming back to our conversation today, is like people think that there's this mysteriousness about being a person of color, and that it's not. We're just different, but everyone is different. You know what I mean? Like we just put a little bit more flavor on our foods than most people.
Yeah, we do. We take care of our skin, and we don't look like.
Okay,
we're not looking 50 in our 30s.
You would never know that I'm 57.
Right, exactly.
The tea in this chat right now. The tea.
So, what has been your experience? First of all, are you currently dating? Are you single?
I currently live with my partner. We have been together for almost 2 years. If you see him like walk by, that's his little fine ass.
Okay.
I was gonna say we want to shout
towel
out.
Or no towel?
But yeah, that's I met him right before I moved here, but it was like it wasn't even on Grindr, it was in person. It was
yes.
And so
we lost you. Oh, there you go.
I was on vacation from the cruise ship. Yeah, it's again, I don't know if it's StreamYard. I'm like trying to keep it in check. I'm so sorry.
No, you're totally fine.
But yeah,
I just don't want you to have to waste your breath if you don't have to.
No, yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. What was it? I had taken a vacation from cruise ships because I had did 2 back-to-back, and so they were like, you can't be on the ship for longer than a year. You have to take 2 weeks before you can do another contract.
Yeah.
And so I took my 2 weeks, did my 2 weeks in Vancouver. At that time, it was Pride, and so I met him while a friend came into town from Colorado. He came to Vancouver with me. We hung out, did the whole Pride thing, met my partner. He was cool. Yes. He was cool for a white boy. He was like, all right, we can see what you about. And so but one thing I loved about him is that I didn't have to explain, or as our relationship has gone on, I didn't have to explain the
Ooh, we've cut out again.
And he knew that because he was climbing the corporate ladder himself at the time. He was working at this company for 15 years. And in climbing that ladder, he got into the rooms where a lot of decisions are made, like who's hired, who's not, who get those types of decisions. And like he would hear comments like, "Oh, we can't hire this person because their name sounds East Indian, or that sounds like a black name, or that sound," you know what I mean? He started to like see firsthand institutional racism. So he was like, he left that company because of that. He was like, he started to see the misogyny, the homophobia. Like, he's a white male, he's a white man, so he's going to be in those rooms that a lot of us are not going to be in. And so he, like I said, he experienced it firsthand, and so that translated to us dating. And like, I didn't have to explain it to him. He just got it because he experienced it firsthand.
Yeah, and I just want to touch on that as well. Like, obviously want to hear your point of view, Russ, too. But I know when I was dating my ex, you know, after we broke up, we still tried to keep in contact and we still tried to be friends. But I always found like I had to explain a few things to him, to say like, you know, I hate saying it, but it's a Filipino thing. Like, it's an Asian thing. Like, you know, like, I don't know if you understand it, but this is just a Filipino thing. Like, my mom, you know, doesn't exactly want to introduce you as my boyfriend right now. And I know that that sucks and we're going to work on that, but it's just a Filipino thing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and so I find it really like touching that you've met someone that is white who you didn't have to explain anything to them. Like, it's just, it's your story and you don't have to justify it. Do you know what I mean? It's your experience and you don't have to justify it. And I think that's, like when I've dated like other people of color and you just say something and you both just get it and you're like, haha, you get it. You get it. Like, do you know what I mean?
It really is a thing, though. It really is a thing.
Yeah.
It is.
But that's what I was just saying. Like, it's amazing that you found someone that you haven't had to like justify yourself to or explain yourself to. It's like, I am me, and like, this is my story and I don't need to explain myself.
I mean, that's how I've always been. Is like, when it comes to, for me, like dating in general, like I've always been like an equal opportunist. Like, I don't care what you look like, what your like culture is, I'm going to meet you where you're at. And that's all I can do from there. And so whether you're black, Asian, white, whatever the case may be, like, I'm a lover, baby. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm a love. Like, that's what I do. And so, I just have never hindered myself that way. And so then to meet somebody who I didn't have to like, let me educate you on like what it means to be a black person, or like what these microaggressions are, or what these like subconscious biases might happen. Like, I just didn't have to do that with him, and it just makes it so much easier. It was surprising to me because he is white. You know what I mean? Like, that surprised me, but again, I appreciate it.
Sorry, I'm just picturing like the whitest boy like walking past your screen right now.
But
like,
no
glasses.
Okay,
like...
not too much on my man. Not too much on my man.
You know what though?
No,
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say he's like, he's not as white, but like there are moments where I'm like, oh baby, you are white. Like, cause like growing up, he grew up in the Canadian version of the hood. So like he listened to like Tupac, Biggie, like he's a little cultured.
Okay,
He's not extremely white, but there are times where he'll dance a little bit. I'm like, oh, you're so white, baby.
I find it so cute when a white boy with no rhythm will be like in the middle of the dance floor having the time of their life, and they're like, I don't care, I'm joining in on this crew because I don't want to miss this opportunity to be out here with you, all you. And I'm like, yes, go ahead.
And that's exactly it.
Okay, we missed the beat twice, but that's okay. Keep going. You live your life. But I will say too, some people, I love that you mentioned culture, because some people don't realize that race, ethnicity, and culture are three different things, because totally you can literally be any race or ethnicity and have a different type of culture, have all the same shared experience culture by the areas in which you were raised and how you were brought up. Right away, and I notice it with like, you know, our own people, like that we might jump down someone's throat like, well, you don't know what that's about, when they're like, actually, I was raised in the hood of 7th Street of, you know, such and such city, and you're like, oh, okay, you get it.
You understand.
You know, and then I'm like, my bad, I'm sorry.
My bad, girl. My bad.
Apologies. You know what a good taco is. Yes. Okay. But look, because there is no type of birria tacos
sorry.
or I just want to name all of them, or carnitas, that like you're just like, when someone gives you a recommendation, like I've had plenty of at one of my jobs. It's like, oh, you have to try this place, it's amazing, and I'm like, this was not. It is, Tex-Mex is not it, y'all. Like, I love my Texans. I love my Texans, but like, don't ever recommend a Tex-Mex place to me. I do not want it. It's just like half-assed Mexican food with cheese smothered on everything, and it's like just cheddar cheese, and it's not slapping the way that needs to. So, but yes. So, going back to our conversation, because we go on tangents a lot. Culture is a big thing, and it's important to understand these cultures. When you were on the dating apps, if you were ever on the dating apps, what was your experience like? Was it a positive experience? Was it because I know you said you traveled around for 7 years, so what was did you notice any differences while you were traveling around the world?
I think it's a little different for me because I am Black, and so there's that stereotype of the BBC Dom top, like that whole thing. And it's just like, with me though, when I was on the apps, I was very much like, baby, I'm a bottom. And I would be upfront, like, I do not have a BBC. Do not ask. It's not here, baby. It is not. I'm not what you're looking for. It's not. You're not getting that from me.
Did you put that on your profile? Because I know that
I sure did.
Yeah, you wrote it down on your profile. Yeah, because I remember like I'd see some people's profiles that say, "Don't ask to see my BBC. Don't ask me this. Like, just ask me how I am." Like, I literally see that on some profiles as well.
The sad part is like you have to do when you're a person of color, especially a Black.
Oh no, you're cutting out again.
We lost you.
Yeah, we've lost you.
I don't know what it is.
There you are.
Sorry. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, sorry. So you're saying as a person of color, as a Black person.
As a person of color, you have to put it out there from the jump because that's all people will reduce you to in these spaces, just the size of your dick. And it's just like, especially when you're a black male, that's all like that's all you are to them, is just something to be fetishized and like to conquer. And it's like it's so gross. And so for me, and I'm sure a lot of other Black men, gay men, they have to like say from the jump, don't ask. I don't have it, or if you do ask, I'm not interested. Like you just have to be upfront from the get-go, and that's what I did. And so
I think, I was just gonna say, because like Russ, you've shared like what Latinos are fetishized for, like Azza, you said it as well. So I guess in terms of like Asians, like we're fetishized for just being like massive sub bottoms, like submissive bottoms. Do you know what I mean? Like that's just what Asians are fetishized for, and. Like why? It's we like why do we? Where did these fetishes come from? Do you know what I mean? Like who started this fetish?
And most importantly, who put the stamp of approval on this? Like, yes,
yeah.
Ask.
Well, let's the problem is you'll have people who are people of color who will they'll accept that type of behavior.
They'll learn it.
They'll like there's and the thing is there's a difference between a kink and like.
Yes. Good point.
And being subjugated to that just because you want to feel something or you want to be wanted or desired.
Yes.
Those are totally different things. And so other than I can only speak for me and what I think and what I believe. And I think those are the people who are more on the side of like, I just want to be loved, or I just want somebody to like have sex with me, will accept that behavior. And then those people will go off and think, oh, well, this person like this, so clearly that's okay. And like I think that's where it just like trickles down that way. That's what I suspect, but I don't know if that's true. Yeah. This is what I.
Oh, we've lost you again. Not the StreamYard. Oh no, we've lost you.
Did you lose me?
Oh, you're back. You're back.
Oh my god. Okay,
that's all right.
I don't know what it is. Really.
I'm sorry, StreamYard is in America. Better yet, StreamYard is in the States. That's how I should probably vocalize that, because people always ask me if I'm from America, and I'm like, well, no matter if you go north, south, or central, yes.
I'll be like,
and what's crazy? And they'll be like, well, are you American? And I'm like, yeah, that's in Central America. And they're like, well, you know what I mean, American. And I'm like, no, I don't. Please elaborate.
Please let me know.
I think
if you go south, north, or mid, you're all gonna be American.
I just want to touch on another thing that you just said. You were talking about the difference between whether something's a kink or whether you like genuinely want to feel like that. And in the past few years, I've had to find myself like checking myself, if that makes sense. Like, because I think, so when I first started dating, I definitely was, conditioned to, because it happens in the world, right? This is what's happened. Like, we've been conditioned, especially in the countries that we're all in, like Canada, Australia, the US, we're conditioned to think that white is the best. Do you know what I mean? Like, white is attractive, white is what you want. So when I first started dating, I definitely was attracted to white boys just in general. And then, as we discussed, like there is a lack of flavor there. So then I started, exploring other people of color. And, I am quite attracted to Latinos and Black guys. But there was a point in time where I had to check myself. Like, am I genuinely attracted to this person, or am I attracted to their ethnicity? I am very aware of that now. So I try to be like, what, I am attracted to this person. It's not because of their ethnicity. I think they've got a handsome face. They've got, beautiful conversation. They're a beautiful person. And so I think it's that, like, again, like if you're into people of color, like just think to yourself, like, is it because of their color, or is it because of who they are as a person and what they can bring? Like, yeah. And that's just my experience. I've had to literally stop myself and be like, Paul, like, it's not just because of their ethnicity. Like, why do you like this person? Like, yeah.
And I think my biggest issue is when people use the word preference. It's like, I hate when people use that word incorrectly, because when you say you prefer something, you're like, yes, I prefer this, but I'm also willing. It's okay. I always put it this way. When it comes to ice cream, you're like, yes, I would prefer vanilla, but
oh my gosh, you're out again. No, I'm just saying, like, you're literally raising so many good points right now. And then StreamYard's just like, no.
We don't want to talk about this in America. We don't want to talk about this in the United States.
Cut the mic. Get her out of here.
Put the mic in the United States. And I'm on my end like, where's the error happening?
No.
You're just like talking about ice cream. And I'm like, yes, spill the tea. Like,
sorry, okay.
The ice cream.
But no, like, yeah, like the best way I can put it is like, when it comes to preference, it's like when it comes to ice cream, you're like, yes, I like vanilla, but I would prefer to have vanilla. But if chocolate and strawberry or nutmeg is all that's available, then I'll take those three and I'll be just as happy. You know what I mean? Like, that's what a preference is. And so I hate when gay men use the word preference. I would rather you say, I exclusively only date white men. Save me the time and energy. Got it. Like, or save people the time and energy. You exclusively date white men. Got it. That's all I need to know. But when you say I prefer, you're like, you leave yourself open to I can, still message this.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No.
I'm trying to keep it in check.
Just keep
but yeah, like when you say I prefer, huh?
I was like, just keep leaning like this.
Right.
Because every time you come up, it's like
and can I just say as well, like, and this is another thing that I need to work on for myself, but there are times where I'll see someone, like I'll be in the club, I'll be dancing, or I'll be walking down the street, or I'll literally just be on the apps as well. And I'll see someone and I'll go, ooh, like that person is hot. But then for some reason, my mind is conditioned to think that person would only be into other white people, or that person isn't into Asians. Like, for some reason, and I don't know if you've ever had this experience, the both of you, but you see someone and you just think, I would not be their type. Like, it's almost like institutional racism has taught you to think you're not enough, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that, but I remember once we were out and my friend, he pointed to this one, like, Brazilian guy, and he was like, oh, like, Paul, that guy's hot. Like, you should go talk to him. And then I just looked at him and I was like, I'm not his type. And he's like, what do you mean? And then I was like, I'll show you later. And then, like, throughout the night, he was only talking to white boys. And I was like, there you go. He only likes white boys. So,
but you know what? You can usually tell if someone doesn't mess with anybody other than Eurocentric looking males, because that's what the crowd is usually running with. Like, that kind of reminded me of that time you and I were in Rome.
Oh yes, sorry, I know.
Here, and you're like,
Sorry,
Don't
this
talk
is
to
me. Like, I'm so insecure. Do you know what I
You're like,
mean? Like,
Go talk to him. You can pull him. And I was like, bitch, me? I was like, little raggedy me, bitch. And
yes, you
then
could have pulled him.
and then when he snapped his neck, I was like, wait, hold on.
And I was
What
there
just
like with my
happened?
drink, and I was like, I told you. I
Literally,
told you.
you and oh my god, I'm drawing a blank right now. But you guys were like, I told you. And come to find out, he was very much into Latin men because I follow him on Instagram, and that's all he dates. But it's just like so California, when it comes to dating, it's a lot of Midwestern transplants to California, Los Angeles, who want other Midwestern transplants. Oh my god. In California, and it's like, why did you move over here if that's all you wanted? You should have stayed in Central America, or you should have stayed like in the Midwest of the States, And so it's frustrating when you're in the dating field, but also like when you meet someone that is of ethnic background, no matter what it is, there's just this certain bond that you have with them, and it's unspoken. I still have not been able to like put it into words.
It's hard. It's hard.
You just relate on a different level.
Yeah, and it is hard to put into words, and yeah, it's hard.
Because even if you are different ethnicities, you've kind of had the same type of journey.
Yeah, experience.
Yeah,
experiences are what bond people.
Yeah, and a lot of our non-melanin counterparts, they don't have that. They don't. And
the microphone. Sorry, that's just me. Like throughout this entire episode, I'm like,
no, I'm gonna compile all those together.
I caught it that time because I was like, I can't hear them.
Watch
so, like,
us. Yeah.
One thing I've learned with, I'm just gonna say white people because that's just what it is, or even white gay men, is just they just don't. A lot of white people don't have empathy. Like they don't get it naturally. Like something has to happen to them for them to be like, oh my god, I get it now. Instead of like a person of color being like, hey, this is happening, or this happens to us. It is a real thing. Why can't you grasp it? They're like, I just don't believe it. Like it hasn't happened. Like I don't believe that. And then when it happens to them, they're like, oh my god, how could this happen? And we're sitting there like, girl, we told you it's a thing.
Yes.
It's insane when you see that happen firsthand. Like, one big thing in the organization that I work for is cultural awareness training. Like we always promote cultural awareness within the organization that I work for. And I was in a training session once, and they put this video up where a person of color was experiencing racism. And then after the video played, they just looked to us as the group and they said, what are you guys feeling? Like that was a very confronting video. What are you guys feeling? And I was just like, I experienced this when I was a child. Like I'm not really feeling anything because I know what that feels like and all of that. And some of the other Australians within the room were like, oh wow, I didn't know that people like Indigenous people felt like that, or I didn't know that people of color felt like that. And I just like literally looked and was like, and then I was like, oh sorry, yeah, you wouldn't, sorry.
The thing is, like, when you're the standard, when you are like at the top of the hierarchy across everything, you don't get like their type of adversity is like, oh my gosh, the waiter was so mean to me. Like, girl, grow up. Like that's not real adversity. Like you'll be fine.
Like meanwhile, I'm over here like I was mean to that fucking waiter because they had I walked in.
Like even so far as like when white people are denied going into a university and they're like, oh, it's those Asians or it's those black people. It's like, no, baby, you just weren't good enough. I've heard that. And it goes into the DEI thing of like diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's just like, like no, baby. A lot of people of color had to work 3 times as hard to even get in the position that they're in.
Yep.
Like, let's talk about it. Wake it up. Like it's one of those things that I think white people in their mediocrity has
Oh my gosh! Literally every time, like
Sorry.
when you're about to spill the tea, StreamYard just goes
Like the United States is like, cut this podcast. Gays don't have rights. How do we cut this podcast right now?
But no, see, it's fine. That's going
Hi,
by.
Daddy.
But no, when white mediocrity has been allowed to just thrive, and so when it feels threatened, it's like, oh, we got to get them out of here, and it's just like and so we understand, we get it, we know it's a thing, and we know it's an issue as to why people of color are like held down, because we know we just have to work so hard to get into these rooms and into these spaces.
Yeah.
So that when we are there, people are like, how'd you get here? It can never be, oh, you were qualified or you're overqualified or you were good enough. It's why you're in here because of your skin color, or you're in here because some
the microphone.
we feel sorry for you, so you were like, this is why you're in here. It's like, no, like this person was just good enough. Like it. Sorry, I'm gonna go in a little bit.
No, it's okay.
I promise I'll shut up. I promise I'll shut up.
And that's where I want to go. Like, so one, I'm conscious. I'm conscious about time, and I do want to get into oh no moments because I want to hear your oh no moment. But yes, this topic needs to be spoken about, and yes, we're going to talk about it again in the future. Season 3, season 4, season 5, like every season, we're going to talk about this topic and we're going to bring it to light. But I don't know. I also don't want to sound like 3 people of color just being like, Mah. So let's give.
No, it needs. But the thing is,
it's not.
It needs.
That's
to be
what
said.
I mean. It needs to be said. But I also want to be like the 3 of us. We're fucking confident and we're fucking like amazing. So how did the 3 of us come out of this? Do you know what I mean? Like, how did we stand strong in like our identity and who we are? Like, I know for me, I'm proud to be Filipino. Like, I'll always talk about how proud I am to be Filipino. I'll always say that I'm Filipino. Yes, I'll always rag on, Eurocentric, non-melanated people and how they don't know how we feel. But at the end of the day, like, I push more so like that I am a person of color and that I am confident in who I am. Like, I really try to be that so that other people can be that as well, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know how you guys really stand in like your solidarity and stand in like the confidence of who you are.
I mean,
go ahead. No, go ahead. You're the guest. Guess first.
Guess first.
I was gonna say, for me, in the way I walk through life now, it's like I meet people where they're at. I just meet people where they're at, and so for me, I am who I am. I love me, and nobody can take that away from me. Like, the life I have lived and the experiences I have had have made me who I am, and like I would never change any of those. And so, but I love me. Like, nobody can ever take that away from me, and so that gives me so much power. Like, I'm very empathetic. I'm a very sensitive person, but like, I will stand up for what's right. I will do right by people because I want them right to me. It's like, that's just my power, and so. But being Black as well, like, baby, I'm untouchable. It's just what it is. I'm like, there's just like, I just have like, but that just comes with like knowing who you are and being okay with who you are. You know what I mean? Like, you have to. A lot of gay men have a lot of work to do when it comes to loving themselves internally. Before, like, you have to heal inside before you can like truly stand in who you are and have like stand in that power. And until you do that work, you're always going to be searching for more, and you're never going to find it. It's not.
Not my Pisces ass like tearing up right now listening to you, just like because it's true. Like, it's fucking true. Like, I 100% relate to that because people always say to me like, how did you become as confident as you are? And it's because I love myself. Like, I 100% love myself. That's why I'm the main character. I'm the main character because I made myself the main character.
How about you, Russ? How do you do it?
For myself, it was such a battle growing up, right? So like, having family members who spoke Spanish were, they were looked down upon because they were seen as less than, and so it was like, not only was that a battle within my own family, and they were trying to make us speak proper English so that we wouldn't have to deal with these things, right? Like, going back to, why don't you have an accent? Well, because my grandmother was very specific on, you're not going to be out just because you speak Spanish or because you sound like you have an accent, or you could be from somewhere else. And then as I got into my teens and my early 20s, it was like, you don't speak Spanish? And it's like, no, bitch, because my grandma was racially profiled as a kid. So she didn't want us to speak Spanish. And so it was this, not only was it a battle within the outside, but it was the battle within the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And now as I'm, as I've progressed and gotten older, I'm more like, when people were like, where are you from? I hit them up like, where are you from? You know what I mean? Like, it's happened at work where a little Mexican lady came up to me and she's like, where are you from? I said, where are you from? And it was like, I mean, where are you from? I said, I mean, where are you from? You know what I mean? Like, I will go, I don't care if you're 5 or 85. I will go rounds with you because if I got to answer, you're going to answer to me too.
But that's the thing too, is like Nigeria. It's funny you say that because Nigerians and people from Ghana and like from Africa will do that to me too. They'll be like, where are you from? I'm like, baby, I'm not where you're from. I'm not where you're from or where you think I'm from. I'm from America. There's no layers there, baby. Like I'm from America, African American, baby. I'm not from Ghana, Nigeria. No, baby, not me.
It's the funniest thing because you're just like,
no, it's so funny.
What? But you know what? As I've gotten older,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm proud to be Mexican, and I'm gonna stand in with my Mexican brothers and sisters. And if you fuck with any of my Mexican brothers and sisters and try to call ICE on them, they can come to my house, and the ICE is gonna have to answer to me, and then we're gonna have big fucking problems because nobody's coming into my house, breaking into my house and see if you don't get shot up, okay? Because we have the right to bear arms, and you cannot break into someone's property. Well, actually, I probably should edit that out. but you know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna harass me because I'm Mexican. I have been Mexican. I have been bashed for being Mexican at one of my jobs, and I was called the dumb Mexican. And I looked at her. I said, "You want to say that again out loud? Don't do it under your breath. If you're gonna say it with your full chest." Silence. Didn't say nothing, right? Because it is still a fight of what we're dealing with. And then the other day when I was in the emergency room, when I thought I was having a heart attack, I was gay bashed. And I, like, mind you, I was just in my hat. I was in a regular t-shirt and I was in some green gym shorts because I was like, I'm not feeling good. I was the most severe heartburn I've ever experienced in my life. Matter of fact, I got the paperwork right here. But I thought I was having a heart attack, and I was like, oh shit, like I really gotta go to the doctor. And so this guy's like mumbling. And I was like, I know this motherfucker is not talking about me. And then again, it's always the clowns. It's always the ones that they're not gonna put up and stand up where their mouth is, right? So as he's walking with security back into the area that you can't go to unless you're being escorted by security in the emergency room, he's like, I don't like gay guys. After all the shit he was talking about gay people in the corner, he was mumbling it under his breath. And then like a switch like just flipped on me. And I'm like, bitch, I will fuck you up.
You really don't swear on the pod, and you're swearing today.
Honestly, let me tell you, I was ready to run down that hallway, tackle him, and just go in. And I called my mom. My mom had to talk me off a ledge because I was ready to wait for him outside the building. And my mom was like, don't do it. It's not worth it. I'm like, I'm also going through this pain. And they still hadn't verified if it was like heart problems or what it was. And I'm like, I can't be fighting having these issues. But when I tell you, I was ready and I was ready to wait for him. I was ready to wait for him. And then I rolled back the video, right? Because I happened to be recording him because I was like, I feel like he's going to say some dumb shit as he's walking by. Sure enough, he did. And sure enough, in the video, he had they mentioned who he was there to see, who he was with, the room number, and the bed number that they were in. So
that's my friend.
So maybe I may or may have not have called that room number later on to let them know that they have been found and that they thought they got away with the smart mouth. Now, or maybe I put it on TikTok. When I tell you, I will always support the LGBTQ community.
You will.
And I will always back my brothers and sisters of color, because if there's one thing you're not going to do is you're not going to mess with them. And like, mind you, this isn't in an overcompensating matter. Like some people do who like aren't part of the community. It's like they overcompensate, right? And you're like, can you just chill? Like, it's not that serious. Like, just go with the flow. You don't need to explain. Like, you know, we're doing all right. We're doing good. Just stay right there. I'll call you if I need you. But when I hear certain things, I go and I flip. Like when I tell you I flip, and like I've gotten a little better with it. Like, right, like just be calm. Because you know what? Not even on their best day could they ever walk in my shoes.
No.
Because You know what I mean? Not and should I pull up the picture of this man? No,
Oh my God,
I'm not
don't.
giving him the space. I'm not giving him the space on our podcast. But not even on their best day could they walk in my shoes. I was on the beach in Hawaii in my Speedo, and it was
I
like
remember you saying
the dude pulls out it. Big old man, looked like a bowling ball, right? Oversized t-shirt, long board shorts down practically to his ankles, just like the typical person that you would they look like they would be homophobic, right? Pulls out the camera, starts filming me, and I thought to myself, you know what? I'm gonna make this a moment. So I put my head in the water, I flipped it back. I know I look good in my Speedo, right? I was walking, right? My chest is big, my booty is popping, my quads are starting to form out now. So I'm like, not even on his best day could he ever look like this. And I probably look better than his wife, which is why he was recording me, because he's secretly gay. So if you let this just be a warning to anybody who's listening to this who might be homophobic. Do not come for us, because we are in 3 different countries and we will come back for you. We didn't send for you, so don't come for us, because
we got what? 3 countries covered.
You don't want none of this. Nothing but when we show up, all bets are off.
I would like to work in the show. I'm too old to be fighting anybody. I don't do all that. Back in my day, baby, absolutely. But now I got a man. I got a
gallon water jug.
Right, listen, I got a man to get home to. I can't do all that.
This is the dynamic of the 3 of us, right? Like Russ is there fighting. Azza's just like watching, be like, oh no, not again. And then there's me being like, okay, like how do we fix this? Like, what are the legal implications? Like, what are the being like the fixer, being like, I
will say I've never ever have started anything. And I asked my best friend. Matter of fact, Marsha's
online. She's online.
But I've asked her, I'm like, dude, what is it? Like, why do people come for me? And she's like, I think it's because you look genuinely like a nice person that people think that they can step on you. And then when you flash on them, it baffles them and they don't know how to react. Yeah. And I'm like, well, just stop playing. I don't mess with nobody. I don't play with anybody. I stay in my lane. And when people get into my lane, it's just like, I'm like the little red guy from, what is that Disney movie, that Pixar movie that just came out, and he has like fire in his head.
Anger.
Yes, I am hit. Like my top is blown, and I'm like, bring it, because I don't mess with anybody like at all. I really just mind my business. I go to the gym. I don't even converse at the gym. I keep my head down, like not in a bad way, but I'm just trying to get this workout in. And I'm trying to go home, and it's like. There's always someone that has to run their mouth. And I'm always going to be that person that's going to turn and be like, do you want to step a little closer and say it louder? It's like, just damn, mind your business. But I will say stuff like this only happens in the United States. I think I was hollered at.
It's not as bad in Canada,
in Sydney.
No, Australia is fine.
World
as well.
Pride.
Yeah.
I had it. I was in downtown and like I was like slurred at. And then I turned and I said, get out the car. And then they kept driving. I was like,
yeah, they only do it in cars in Australia. Yeah.
They never want, you know what? Because, none of them can fight. That's why.
And then how embarrassing would it be to get this shit rocked by a gay man? I'd be so embarrassed. Cut the cameras.
Let me tell you, when my mom was talking me off the ledge, I said, Mom, I will ruin this. I could ruin this man's life. And she's like, I sent her the picture and she was like, oh, you could have definitely beat his ass. And I said, and you know what? It came across my mind. And then I thought to myself, my insurance might deny this claim. They'd be like, oh, he's fine. He didn't need to be in the emergency room. Like, beat somebody up.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. All right, I'm gonna take us into Oh No.
That was my Oh No moment.
Yes. I feel like my Oh No moment is a little bit.
What's an Oh No moment? What's that?
So every week we have. So in Australia, when something goes wrong and someone says "Oh no,"
oh no,
we have our No moment of the week, where it's either something happened, we messed up on something, or something just didn't align the way that we thought it was gonna align.
So I think it's like,
my Oh No moment of the week was I got gay bash.
Gay bash. No. And then your other
in the emergency room, out of all things.
That's crazy.
And your other Oh No moment of the week is like, okay, don't say anything so that the insurance flows through.
The other Oh No moment of the week is my insurance just sent me an email and said that I had been dropped of coverage. Because I'm gay.
So my oh no isn't an oh no moment of the week, but it was like when I was in Madrid, continuing on the POC discussions, also continuing on with the pettiness. So I was in Madrid and, you know, scrolling through the grid, and then I see like another Aussie, and I was just like, I've been traveling for like 3 months now and I have not seen any Aussies. Like, I'm just going to say hello to this guy. So I was like, hey, mate, how are you? And then he responds with, not my type. And then I just go, mate, calm down. Like, I've been traveling for a few months now. I haven't seen another Aussie. I just thought I'd say hello. Anyway, I'm not even into white boys, so you're good.
See,
and then I got blocked.
The high road. You always take the high road, and then just a little bit of shade.
I have to like, yeah,
not my type. I would be like, who was asking for you?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Did you think you were that attractive? Because I was just saying, what's up?
Literally,
has no one ever told you have a good day? You must have a horrible life.
That is me though. Yeah, that is me though. I'm very much a like, okay, you need to chill because this is the situation. Also, I'm not into you anyway. So yeah, that is me. Like,
I don't know.
This is the facts, but here's the shade.
Like oh my god.
But that was my petty oh no moment of Madrid. I don't know if you have one as a oh no moment of the week.
I don't. I have one from the past. I feel like this will probably be kind of like tie into like what we're talking about. My own nor was when there was a when I was on the apps, when I was partaking, and I can remember the year exactly. It was 2013 is when I stopped using the apps. Is because a white gentleman said to me, his first message to me on Grindr was, "You look cute for an insular, the hard ER boy." I said, "Oh, baby, I got this. This is ghetto. I gotta go."
Wait. I'm like trying to compute that in my head.
He said he looked cute for being the ethnicity that he is, but instead of saying the ethnicity he is, he said it in a racially slurred way.
Oh my gosh! What?
He said, I'll give you the like edited version."
No. I got it now.
You got it now? Okay, I was gonna say I'll give you that edited if you still couldn't figure it out, but I got you. So yeah, he said his first message to me was, "You're cute for a Yigger boy," and I said, "Oh, I gotta go. This is it for me, baby. It's a chop," and I have not been on Grindr since, and that was 2013.
You should have screenshotted that, saved it into your hidden album, and then posted it now in 2025.
But like, he didn't
send it to Russ. Russ will
I'll post it. You know what? Let me turn this hat around.
No, yeah, that's when I was just like, this is not the space for me, and I genuinely have not looked back. Like, didn't care. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is definitely a oh no moment.
That is an oh no moment. That's an oh no moment on his behalf. Like, what makes you think you can say that?
The oh no moment is that I know somebody who works for the grid, so we can go ahead and pull that history if you want to find him.
Maybe years ago, they probably, if anything, they probably croaked. So
probably 401k, 1 foot in the grave, dead.
Right? Like, I don't care.
Find the grave and dig it up. I'm not against that. I'm not above that.
My oh no moment is when I'm realizing that my friends are criminals.
I'm not a criminal. I'm just down for the occasion. There's a difference.
Exactly. There's a difference being a criminal and being down for the cause, baby.
Okay.
Burn it down.
I'm not a criminal. If someone breaks into my house and I beat them up, that's on them. They shouldn't have broke in.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
They should have known that I had a water jug that was going to be coming at 20 miles an hour towards their head.
That's crazy. That is wild.
They should have known that I could have picked up a couch and hit them with it. That's on them that they broke into the house. It's not my fault I have accessible couch pieces that come apart.
Oh my God.
So before we wrap this up, I do want to ask the audience, please leave in your comments anything that you've experienced on the crossroads of being LGBTQ and also being a person of color. Or if you are not a person of color, I want to know what you've experienced on the outside and how you've become an ally, or how you've educated yourself on realizing that there was parts of the LGBTQ person of color community that maybe you missed out on, and what was that resignation moment where you realized that you didn't understand. Please leave those in the comments. Share with us your stories. Also, we want to know, has anybody ever called you out for being big or a twink. And if they had a different preference that quote unquote wasn't your type, please let us know what they said so that we can put these stereotypes to end. And with that being said, Paul and I are still trying to get to 100,000 followers. So please click on Good Day Gay, add yourself, subscribe, like, follow us on
everything.
I'm looking at
everything.
Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify. You can catch us and restream it on iTunes. I don't know if it's going to get censored. I have to shit I said. You can follow Azza at Iam.AzzaMichael on Instagram. Are you also on TikTok?
No, I'm not.
Are you on Blue Sky?
I am.
Okay. Is it the same?
No, it's different. So because I stream on Twitch. I'm a Twitch girl. I'm a
video
tell us your Twitch, girl. Tell us.
Okay, so it's Fluffy. You got IITZFLUFFYYY. Only reason it's so different is because all the variations were taken, so I had to make it work, besties. So oh, before we end, can I say one thing? Can I just say one more thing?
Tell us.
Yes.
Okay, so when it comes to those who are an ally, when you're people of color, when the minorities are telling you things are happening, don't take it personally. It is not an attack on you. It is not to say that you're racist. It is not to say that you're a bad person. It is just trying to help you understand it is not an attack on you, on your person. I'm sure you're a great person. But just know when you're people of color and your minority are saying, hey, these are issues that are happening to me, don't try to step in and like play the hero. Just listen and do better.
We need a clap. We need a clap. We need a clap to that. We need a clap to that.
Wait, I gotta find her.
Find the clap.
I bet she not find the clap.
Find the clap.
Out of all things you could have said, not find the clap.
Crazy.
If you are finding the clap, please go see your medical
local
doctor. Your
truly.
Go to a clinic. If you don't have insurance, find some nonprofit that will help you out with that. Paul, don't encourage.
I know. I'm literally like, and with that, thank you, Azza, and that's this week's episode. Bye.
Thank you, Azza. We'll see y'all later. Stream us. Catch up. Leave your comments, like, subscribe, get us to 100,000 followers so we can move to New York. Bye.
Bye.